The Flash, Season 4, Episode 1, The Flash Reborn. This was an amazing first episode because so much happens. It's not, how do I put it? It's not just one tone, okay? This episode is going to have you, you're going to be excited, then you're going to be depressed, then excited, and then you're going to be anticipating things. And I'd say it's a perfect combination of all of those elements for a pilot episode, because usually we have the pilot episode either be depressing or really excited, but this episode, it was just perfect. It pretty much starts off with Iris talking about how she's been running for the past 6 months and, just try not to look back. She's been leading Team Flash, and Team Flash has been very successful. And in the opening sequence we get to see Kid Flash and Cisco tracking down, I forget her name, okay, the one meta that can like teleport in like anywhere within her visual range, and she's just been teleporting everywhere. And Wally's been running after her trying to catch her, and Cisco's just been teleporting, and he still doesn't have, I mean, he's improved definitely since the last time we saw him like start teleporting, but like he's like, oh, I need to exercise more. So basically Iris, she's at the computer. They notice that the meta, she's been teleporting to every third rooftop, so Cisco gets up there, catches her, and then basically they catch her. They go through the portal. Obviously she's on her feet, she has the guns, but then Joe uses the boot on her and they put her away. And this episode, I kind of don't want to run down everything because it's kind of pointless. I mean, I will not go into full detail of what happens. I'll basically do a rundown of what happens. So for this episode, pretty much, I think that one of the best parts of this episode was how with Caitlin, it's like, oh yeah, everything's fine, Caitlin's fine, yeah, but she's really not. She still has some weird issues with Killer Frost. Like Killer Frost comes out whenever she's angry, and then she's like later on she's like, no, what's happening, and then she changes back. So it's kind of like a split personality now. It's not a full takeover, it's a split personality kind of thing. Also, I think one of the most genius parts was when, the whole thing happens, Cisco brings Barry back, they do the whole Speed Force cannon thing. I think that's what it was that they were using, I can't remember, because I was watching it on a live stream and it kept skipping. But basically uses it and they think they failed, but then Barry just, comes out from a portal on the other side of the city. And the way they got Barry out was they used this thing where they tricked the Speed Force to think that Barry's still in there. And Barry comes out and, he's got a beard and stuff, and he's all crazy, like he's writing all these, how do I put it, she's writing all these characters on the wall, and, then he starts running around in circles like he's crazy, and basically Caitlin uses the cold gun to knock him out. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was some sort of cold gun. They knock him out, put him in a cell, and Cisco deciphers it, and it just says this house, this house is... Like, what? Are you kidding me? I think that was a good touch. And basically, the Samuroid guy, he ended up showing up. He tells them there's 24 hours. He wants the Flash to come back. So they get, they have Barry out, but Barry's just not himself. He's just saying all these random things like, I'm okay, I'm not okay. Like, he's just saying these random things. Like, his brain is just, I don't know, it's just disconnected from his body. He's just not Barry. So... they have a day, Wally tries to go to stop him, he puts on the Flash's suit, like, the good old red suit. This is the last time we get to see that suit. Anyways, it's not going to come back. The Samuroid actually whoops Wally's ass, and then Iris and Joe have this thing where, Iris is starting to lose hope, and then Joe tells her that she has plenty of hope left and that she should believe. So then they go to confront... the Samuroid. 24 hours is up. They confront him, and then she basically tells the Samuroid, she's like, take me, Barry, well, not Barry, the Flash is gonna come for her. So then the Samuroid takes her. Joe goes back and tells Barry, like Barry's still writing his up, Barry, Iris is gonna die, she's in danger. And Barry, boom, they don't let him out, he just breaks out. He breaks out of that, containment cell. We haven't seen anybody do that before. That's power dampening in there, and Barry's got so much speed force, he's out. And this is the fastest he's ever ran. He's way above Wally, way beyond. It's insane how fast this guy is. Like at the end of the episode, Wally literally says, you might be the fastest speedster ever. So he's faster than Savitar. From what we can see, he's just way faster, you know. I mean, Savitar is a future version of Barry, but that Barry from that future never went into the speed force. So, you know, it's amazing. We see Barry in his new suit. He literally takes the Samuroid down in like one hit. He pretty much just cuts his wings off, and the Samuroid crashes and he's done for. And Barry and Iris reunite, and it's a really touching moment. It's great. And guys, Barry, he's finally not weighed down by his past anymore. He's complete now. Like the speed, literally, he's reborn in the Speed Force. He doesn't have any of those things weighing him down. He's more positive. We might be finally seeing the Barry that's smiling, that's, you know, cracking jokes, like the Barry from the comics. Obviously, he's weighed down and stuff, but this Barry is completely different, you know. He's what Barry really should have been, you know, originally, like from the original timeline where his mother wasn't murdered by the Flash. So, finally, oh my goodness, it's so refreshing to see that for his character, to finally have him, you know, be normal, you know, well, not be normal, but like, you know, he's finally able to just not be in his head all the time and make these reckless mistakes. And, you know, he's more, how do I put it, he's just more knowledgeable, he's more level-headed, he's calm, and he's happy. And that's all we want for Barry. And Iris is finally able to, you know, how do I put it, not grieve, but like just relax and just let all those emotions out. And like I said, now we get to that sequence at the end where we see Caitlin. She was like, I think she was in with like a bad ring of crooks or something. I don't know. They gotta expand upon that in the future. And she basically wants out because, you know, she's back to Team Flash, so he wants out. And the guy grabs her, the same guy that we've seen earlier at the bar, and she literally just goes full on Killer Frost and smacks his head, and she just starts freezing his head and is like, don't let me give you a brain freeze, which is pretty funny. But, you know, she's out, she left that. And then we get the Thinker reveal, DeVoe, right off the bat. He's revealed to us. What is he planning? They revealed him to us immediately. My goodness, what's happening? We have the villain reveal like instantaneously. My goodness, this season they've done something unpredictable because they've never really fully out revealed the identity. I mean, we know who he is, obviously, but they revealed him to us in the first episode at the end. So, I don't know. This amazing first episode. I'm gonna have to go rewatch it later. Watch it in full HD and just enjoy it. I love this episode, okay? It's not like season 2 for me. It was kind of like, didn't really, I mean, it was slow paced for me. I don't know, it just wasn't as enjoyable to me as the first season was, and as the third season. I really enjoyed the third season despite how depressing it was, but those depressing undertones were definitely needed and they were good, okay? And now, because, you know, season 1, 2, and 3 all deal with Barry's mistakes. You know, he's trying, in season 1 he's trying to deal with the loss of his mother. He's trying to figure out who, you know, murdered his mother, which was the Reverse Flash. And season 2 we've got Zoom, and Zoom shows up and he terrorizes a completely different Earth, and, you know, Barry's trying to stop him. Obviously, you know, this guy comes from a different Earth, which is Zoom, and Barry's, you know, trying to, he has trust issues, and those trust issues are proven right, and by the end of that he loses his father. So right after he comes to terms with losing his mother and he's able to find some peace, he gets hollowed out by losing his father. So at the end of season 2 he goes back in time and, you know, he changes the timeline to finally have some time with his parents. But then things start going wrong, so then he changes it back, and because he changed it back, those things that he's done have come back to haunt him. Pretty much he himself ended up haunting himself and hurting himself in a way, because, you know, it's a time remnant, and he ended up having to go into the Speed Force to, you know, deal with his you know, well, to, how do I put it, to pay for all the, you know, mistakes that he's made, to, how do I put it, to pretty much just atone for what he's done. and now he's back. Now, one thing I want to know is what's going to happen, like, because the Speed Force does not like to be manipulated and tricked, so how's that going to all work out? Like, you know, you can't just, Cisco had help from Harrison, from everybody on that device to trick the Speed Force into thinking that Barry's still there, okay? But what happens when Barry has to go in there, you know? That's the questions that we still have to find out. How's the Speed Force going to react to that? Is the Speed Force going to let Barry continue being Barry? Also, Barry, from what Caitlin has stated, you know, maybe Barry was soaking up a bunch of Speed Force energy because he was in there for 6 months. So Barry is now supercharged and he's faster than Wally, you know, at all. And Wally is incredibly fast. Like, he is going to be a really fast speedster, but Barry is the fastest of them all. Now, finally, in the second episode when we get the opening intro, I'm the fastest man alive. It's actually true for once. Okay, but he's got to outthink his opponent now. So we've got the thinker revealed. He's, you know, being careful. He's planning things. Amazing. Excited to see what happens. I'm hoping that somehow by the end of the season we get Godspeed, mainly because we've had the Speed Force Storm, and in the comics that Speed Force Storm has also created Godspeed and a few other speedsters, you know. So that, I hope that whole plot can be furthered upon, and, you know, that's for later, you know, but I'm just hoping that they don't miss this chance to have that happen. And also, there was like a comic book kind of thing that happened where the Samuroid grabbed Wally with a sword and he lifted him up, and that was from one of the Flash covers. They love doing that, so I'm glad they did that. But anyways, I don't want to make this review too long, so I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I rate this episode 10 out of 10, probably because I'm a fanboy. Like, I'm a huge fan of this show. It's one of my favorite shows. I love it, okay? So, you know, amazing. I hope this season keeps up with episodes being as good as this. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. If you guys enjoyed these reviews and want to leave a comment of your own telling me what you thought of the episode and how many goosebumps you guys got when Barry just burst out of that containment cell and ran to get Iris. Like, how excited were you? Man, I got intense goosebumps. I was just so many goosebumps. Just, yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoy these kinds of reviews, like I was saying before my brain started going everywhere, just, you know, subscribe and leave a rating below. And leave a comment on what you guys thought of this episode and what you rated out of 10. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.